the F5 Local Traffic Manager traffic processing configuration. So now we're going to get back on our devices. We had some of our basic setup done. Now we're going to see about the pieces and parts to actually start doing some load balancing and what all's involved. Alright, so as we go in here, and this is kind of the part where we're putting everything together, we remember that I have pools of servers over here. I've got really a bunch of them, but I'm only going to utilize, I don't know, for right now I'll just utilize 8 of them, and we'll kind of see where things go. Yeah, maybe all 10. I don't know. Anyway, as we get through here, I want to set up 3 virtual servers. So the first one is going to be, port 80 to port 80. So, kind of keeping things fairly simple in there. So all my servers are running a port 80 web server on the inside. And what I'm going to do out of this, though, is I'm going to go ahead and put, we'll put all 10 servers on there. And with that, I'm going to have 4 of them active, and then do an extra threshold. Okay, so 4 for threshold 1, and 2, and another threshold. Alright, so we kind of have activity going on where these really won't be active at all until something happens down here. My second one, we'll start doing some translations. I'm going to have it come in on port 80, but on my server side, I've got another web server running on some of them for port 88. And that'll be 4 servers. And let's see, my third one, we're going to do port 80 to port 8080. That'll be on the inside, and we'll do another 4 servers for that. Okay, and what we're going to do in here is I've got all the clients that we can go take a look at stuff, but I've also got the web server set up, and we've got some basic HTML pages on there, really nothing exciting at all, but we're going to kind of get down there and see what the actual IP address of those servers happens to be for it. So that'll be kind of a quick and easy approach for things as far as getting them out there and really, again, seeing what's going on. So let's go ahead and dive into our config. Remember, the first thing we're going to have to do is set up, so I guess step 1 is going to be our pools. So we'll create them and see all the differences, all the different servers that we have on the inside, and then we'll go ahead and set up our virtual servers. And then, of course, the fun part is we test it all out, so we get to see exactly how well we did with everything. So let's go ahead and get started. I know the command line, or not the command line, but the GUI in this case, is a whole lot more fun than just sitting here graphing it all out. Okay, so let's go. Back to the big time, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Logging in. Alright, now let's see where we are at. Okay, so right now we have our basic stuff set up for our VLANs and our IPs already. So just double check on that. Alright, so got my default route there, have my VLANs or my self IPs, got my VLANs. Okay, so we are all good. So everything we're going to be doing today is actually going to be up here, where I went to, in my local traffic. Alright, so the catchy thing is I need to set up all my information for what I'm going to have or who's going to be doing what. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is create my nodes. Then we'll actually put them into a pool, and then we'll create a virtual server there as far as what the outside is going to see. And then the fun part is that we're going to actually test the stuff out. Okay, so our nodes, here's our list right here. We can just name each one of them, and this will be kind of simplistic to go through. So we can call it just node 1, no spaces, I remember that. Okay, so these all do start with 11, I guess we should probably change the name to 11, and keep things consistent that way. Okay. Now this is where we can get into stuff if we're doing things on either connection limit or connection rate limit or ratio that we had talked about on there. Not really going to worry about it for right now. We're going to kind of see what happens or what goes for it. So we'll just leave this as finished and kind of create each of the nodes. Alright, so plain and simple on there, we got a list of node 11 through 20. Now, those are the hosts, the VM hosts that I have on there, so perfectly cool with that. Now we can go ahead and create some pools. Right. Now remember, I wanted to have a group of things going on there as far as 3 virtual servers when I'm done. So we're going to go ahead and create one pool, and we can do it really in any order. It makes no difference whatsoever. So we'll call this, let's see, what do we want to call it, pool 3. This will tell us what we're going to have. We'll do HTTP. We can keep that active as far as monitoring whether everything is up and going. We'll do it in the standard round robin. I'm kind of building from the bottom up. So this is going to be port 8080 things that I'm doing on here. So let's see, on my node list. So here I'm going to select, what do we have? 15 through 18, I believe. And service port 8080. HTTP, okay. So add that. Do the same thing for 16. Oops. Guess when you change it to HTTP, it edits that there. Alright. So node list 17 and drop down, and there's 18. Okay, so there's my pool in pool 3. So notice everything here is going to be 8080. The incoming port we'll set when we do our virtual server, so don't worry about that for right now. Okay, so that should be good. Everything we have there, perfectly cool. Alright, so finish with that. Alright, let's go ahead and create pool 2. And I'm kind of doing these in reverse complexity order, if you will. So things I have, we'll do health monitor, that's fine. And let's see, pick out of the node list. And this is going to be out of port 88. So do 11. 88 right there. 12. 13 and 14. Okay, so should be good with that. Very cool. Alright, now create one more. This is pool 1. Okay, so let's see what we're doing here. We're going to do priority group activation. Now, how do I want to build this out? So I'm going to have all 10 servers in there. I'm going to do it in groups of 4, and we can pick less than. So if it's less than, we'll say less than 3 available members. Then we'll add. Okay, now we're going to be adding all of these into here. So we'll kind of balance this as we go. So let's see, node 11, good place to start. HTTP, because this will all be port 80, priority 0, that's fine. Right. Okay, and we can actually see all this down here as far as where we're at the P0. That'll change as we go forward here. So we got that one added in. Let's add node 12 also as P0, that's fine. Now 13 we'll add as a P1. Okay, now notice the P right here changed to 1. Okay, the R, by the way, is ratio. Okay, so we can kind of decode all these things as we go right here. So 14 we'll do as 1. 15 is 1. Oh, I didn't hit add, there we go. Okay. 16 we'll do as a 2. 17 as a 2. Then 18, 19, and 20, I actually want to do as a 3. Okay, so we should have all of the things in here right now, and notice, so over here on the in this column right here, my priority code happens to be changing. The highest node priorities will be served first. Okay, so basically I'm going in reverse order, if you will. So I will start at 20 and go all the way down to 11 at that point, depending on the availability of anything less than 3 members. That's when I'll activate the next group in there. So that is my pool 1. So we've created our pools at this point and get all 3 pools up and going. So that's perfectly cool. Now we go next into our virtual servers. And I don't have any set up right now, so this kind of tells me everything I'm going to need to know, or everything I'm going to need to look at. Now there's a whole lot of information and a whole lot of things that we can do on here. Question is, what do you want to do? Okay, so we'll just call this virtual server number 1. I kind of keep things simple for it. And again, what we're going to start with is this will be our port 80 one as we go. Now, IP addresses. Everything I want to do on here, we're going to keep on the same subnet as where my clients are right now. So we'll kind of keep that simple for them to access. Alright, so now let's go ahead and kind of take a look at some of these things on here. I put a brand new host on just because some of them were irritating me. So let's see, 192.168.201.103 will be a server that we can look at. Interestingly enough, not exactly the fastest throughput in the world on my VM, and I'm not sure whether this is my Mac Mini or what the deal is with that. What are we doing? Okay, there we go. So, what we can see on here is I did put web servers on there. It tells us as virtual server 2 that the client is using port 8080 down here, and this is .16. And I should be able to refresh and perhaps pick a different server. At least we'll wait on that. Okay, and so on my main pool, I'm doing virtual server number 1, and this is loading through 20 right here. And we can refresh on it. Okay, still 20 on that one. Now we get 18. Should see 19. There we go. So we're starting to see them cycle through on here. Now remember, we did this one with a threshold. So as long as these 3 are available, then I'm not going to see anything other than 18, 19, and 20. So that kind of gives me a little normal rotation in there. And then 102. Kind of check out. Okay, so I'm on 14, port 88 on the inside. So again, virtual server 2 tells me what I'm doing right here. And thinking about it. Okay, so there's 13. So we do see a rotation going on as far as where we're at. So we know we are load balancing. Now, one of the other things that we can look at is kind of our statistics. So I did pull up a dashboard on here and really made my own kind of my own creation for it. But it just kind of gives us an idea as to what the connections that we have going on, what my availability happens to be. Apparently my nodes are unknown for some reason. I'll have to go back and maybe take a look at that, but should all be good because my virtual servers are up and the pools are up. Pools wouldn't be up if the nodes weren't, so it all kind of relates to each other that way. It may just be that we didn't have any monitors, so that'll be in a future nugget that will actually do that. So as we kind of go through there, this gives us the sense of what we see going on, and that's kind of the important portion for it. So we should also add that we verified on here. So verify or monitor. And we did all those things. So I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.